life could be a dream for the Fifth Doctor, Tegan, Nyssa, and Adric as they go on a couple of holidays, actually. First things first, it's off up to St. Andrews in Scotland for a bit of a late summer fun time by the sea, a picnic, a book club, a murder, and then it's off to some team building exercises on a planet that has a bit of an infestation problem going on. But it's said to have some lovely wildlife there, nevertheless, over at the Trine Archipelago. Uh, yeah, this is the Fifth Doctor Adventures, The Dream Team.
Was it
Uh,
a dream set? Was it a dream set? That is the question we'll be answering.
Despite being called the Dream Team itself, the story by Lizzie Hopley, is the two-parter, the smaller offering of the set, and then the rest of it, the bulk of it, is the Murfolk Murders, a four-parter by Tim Foley, pure historical as well.
Yes, this Merfolk Murders is your Black Orchid done right, I would say.
Oh, most definitely. This is my favorite story of the year so far. I mean, it's Tim Foley, so
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting it. I do love my murder mysteries, and Fifth Doctor. It's all come together wonderfully for me because these are all the things I love, and yeah, even then, it went above and beyond for me. I really, really had a good time with this one. It feels like a love letter to murder mystery stories.
Well, yes, especially with how it centers around the Doctor Orion Hood and him and Sarah Jane staying at Baker Street writing their own murder mysteries,
Mm.
which I think was a nice sort of callback, a nice sort of thing to throw in there. I
Yeah,
think
and a foreshadowing of a future Fourth Doctor story that they've got going on.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, I think if you like your friend of a family, you'll enjoy this because I think this has the same level of every character has their own secrets and battles.
Mm.
Um, and I think as the story progresses, it becomes more and more interesting, especially when you get to part four and you get the whole sort of
You
I've
get your
gathered,
typical murder mystery
yeah,
gathering and explanation of what's happened,
I've gathered all
how they
the
done it.
suspects here. This is how it was done. Because
Mm.
it all centers around a murder of a girl who, somewhat cried wolf. Pretty good as we get the backstory of that
Yeah.
behind it all, really.
It was wonderful seeing it all play out in how it was done, why it was done, all the pieces coming together. Because you've got a lot of things being thrown out there throughout the story, how all good murder mysteries work, and then you get to try and piece them together yourself, perhaps, or you just sit along and enjoy the ride and let the doctor do the hard work. Uh, but yeah, it feels like this wonderful deconstruction of murder mysteries, why we're so interested in murder mysteries at the same time. Because with these characters, uh, you've got the Doctor who is now much more human than he was in his previous incarnation. And he's a bit more in touch with the whole human side of these murder mysteries. And yeah, there's a wonderful balance there between both the fact that a life has been lost and the tragedy of that, but also the fact that it's fun to solve puzzles, and this is very much a puzzle for the Doctor to solve.
It's a puzzle
Uh,
he's reluctant to solve. But you have
eh,
Tegan trying to inspire him by saying, "Put the Deerstalker on," and it's a shame the Deerstalker isn't on the cover, actually.
that could have been a rather wonderful sight, but we do have the spectacles at least, which I think
Yes,
suit this quite well. I mean, speaking of, I think Tegan comes across very well in this story.
she gets a
Uh,
human aspect, I think, because she has to deal with the family of the victim, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, all the characters, all well, all the characters, I will say, but all the companions, in particular, get great stuff as well. They each have their
Adric.
own little subplots. Yeah.
Adric gets a love interest, and it's interesting seeing the murder mystery aspect from Adric's quite logical mind from maths, X, Y equals, victim,
Yeah.
motive.
I think it's also fun seeing Adric being oblivious.
Yeah, yeah.
That's- and Nissa too gets a bit of a love aspect going on, which I think works out quite nicely for Tegan because she's usually the one getting palmed off with the love interest
Well, she did last year,
storyline.
didn't she, with conflicts of interest in that set?
Yeah. And so here it's quite nice to see that they found something else for her to do that really is. I think she comes across the best in this, but they all come across great.
Mm.
Uh, it's such a wonderful story. I think for me, it's a 9 or a 10 out of 10. It's really is up there. Like I say, favorite of the year so far. Just such a wonderful experience.
I'm gonna go 8.5. I think it's a solid one. It's a solid one.
Hmm. I
Uh,
think the setting's very evocative as well.
yeah, yeah. I think this one would really benefit sort of late August as sort of the seasons are changing, sort of the
Yeah.
last gasp of summer. I think this one would be a brilliant one to stick on.
Yeah, perhaps he would one on the beach. Perhaps he would go all the way up. Well, I say all the way up. It's all the way up for me. Perhaps you live quite near to
Yeah.
St Andrews. Perhaps you're even studying there.
Mm.
So yeah, it might be an even more evocative experience for you if you know that location or are easily able to visit it. I mean, who know, or you might live the exact opposite side of the world. You might live down in Australia,
Yeah.
so it might be even harder for you to get to. It might not even be summer or for you at the late August. So it's funny, isn't it? The way we can get very bogged down in our own little world around us.
Do you know what is
Yeah,
funny though? You can get bogged down in dreams.
you can indeed. You can get sucked in and
And
perhaps lose track of reality for a while.
I think the Cantrafari, what a brilliant match for the Fifth Doctor era because you have things like the Mara, which are all about sort of these weird, surreal, dreamlike worlds, aren't they?
Hmm.
With Tegan, and I think that fits this wonderfully. And I think,
Yeah, it's right for season 19.
yeah, I think the layers this has, dreams within dreams, what is reality, what it does with the Cantrafari, with these tests, I think that was really quite cool and quite grim with the fight or
Mhm.
flight aspect.
Yeah, there's certainly some interesting things going on with them. This isn't the first time we've had the Catrafari on Big Finish. We got them in Classic Doctor's New Monsters Volume 3, The Stuff of Nightmares, for two stories, which I think used them very well, particularly If I Should Die Before I Wake, a story featuring the Eighth Doctor Charlie, played by Paul McGann and India Fisher, and no one else, funnily enough.
Much like
This
this one.
story, yeah, does something similar there. I mean, it's double the cast, but nevertheless, it's just the Doctor and his companions, really. It's the Dream Team, it's the TARDIS team. Uh, but yeah, I don't think it quite reaches those heights. I still had a good time with this one,
Hmm.
but yeah, I will admit it was a bit more of a struggle to get through, I
Oh, I,
suppose.
I, I really like this one a lot, actually.
Oh,
I don't like you. I agree that it's not the same level as the Eighth Doctor and Charlie one, but I think this is much better than Electric Dream, the Sixth Doctor one for me.
no.
I think the imagery is very strong within it, with when you've sort of got Nissa almost having sort of a mental breakdown of trying not
Mm,
to wake, the Cantrafari up. And the images there are great, and I like how it's almost sort of by the end it's sort of parodying sort of sci-fi with like the porcins, I think they are like these
mm.
sort of pigs in sort of silver leotards. It's sort of poking fun at the genre of what sort of costumes were being done in sci-fi in the 80s, and I
Yeah.
guess it's a bit
I
of a
mean,
wink and nod at Davison
it
in
was certainly a surprise return that I wasn't expecting.
yeah. So I enjoyed that, but I will say the resolution felt a bit too quick.
Yeah, it almost felt like it had too many get out jail free cards going on.
Hmm.
Like it was building up to multiple things, but didn't know quite which one to stick with. A bit like last Christmas.
Yeah.
Uh, Um, but I still had a good time with it. But at the same time, it just felt okay overall. Like it felt, even though it's going for this quite high concept thing, it felt fairly basic in its handling of it.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it, and I think it doesn't really do any harm to the box set overall because it is just your two-parter. You've got your main meat of your four-parter, which is so good that anything could come after it, and I would still highly recommend this box set. So it's a nice little bonus to have the Dream Team
Yeah.
or Dream Team rather. The box set is called the Dream Team. The
Yeah.
story is just called Dream Team. So there's your distinction for.
I mean, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, this one.
I'd probably go. Oh, box set as a whole or story?
A story, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd probably go 7.
Okay.
It's a fairly above middle of the road stuff, but only just. I think, but yeah, overall, I've had a very good time with this box set, and as you can imagine, I would highly recommend if you've not picked this one up. Really worth going
Davo's
for.
Davo's done it again. Another
Yeah,
cracking
he
entry.
has. He has indeed.
You
I
really
mean,
can't go wrong.
yeah, so far with the Fifth Doctor Adventures range since the relaunch, if it's Tim Foley, it's one of the best. I think, yeah, my top 3 Fifth Doctor Adventures so far are all Tim Foley ones.
Hmm.
Are all his actually.
Yeah.
The Auton Infinity,
Pursuit of the
uh,
Nightjar.
yeah, Pursuit of the Nightjar, and now the Merfolk Murders as well. 3 for 3. What an incredible talent Big Finish have there.
Very lucky to have him.
Indeed. And we're very lucky to have listened to so many of his great stories. Yeah. Thank you for watching this review of the Fifth Doctor Adventures, The Dream Team. We hope you have enjoyed. Let us know if you've picked this one up, what you thought of it in the comments below. Or if we've persuaded you, or perhaps dissuaded you. Perhaps,
Yeah.
even though I've been raving about murder mysteries, perhaps they're just not for you.
Yeah,
And
I
so
think
you decided to stay
Merfolk
clear.
Murders is sort of an acquired taste. You're either with it or you're not with it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it may change your mind, but if you're already pretty set on, yeah, this isn't the kind of Doctor Who for me, then, fair enough. And I think especially when Big Finish costs as much as it does these days,
Yeah.
you are probably better off going for one that you're more certain you're going to enjoy rather than shot in the dark. Not usually for me, but I might enjoy it.
Mm.
I think it's brilliant, but, maybe murder mysteries just aren't your thing.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, different strokes for different people. But anyway, let us know all your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye bye.